The card declines on a $7 sandwich. Not because you're broke, exactly. There's money coming. The paycheck cleared this morning. You're almost sure of it, and the transfer just hasn't landed yet. So you stand at the counter while the line behind you goes quiet, and you tell the kid at the register, it's fine, you'll leave it. You walk out hungry, and somewhere in a building you will never set foot in, a number with your name beside it just told a machine exactly how to treat you. You didn't choose that number. You don't even know what it is right now, but it has already decided things about your day that you were sure you decided yourself. Here's what nobody ever lays out plainly. The same bank, the same lobby, the same polite voice on the phone, treats 8 different versions of you, 8 completely different ways. And the only thing that changes between them is the number on the screen. So we're going to climb that ladder, one rung at a time, from $4 to $1 million. By the top, you'll see the trick the whole thing is built on. And you'll see exactly which rung you're standing on tonight. Level 1, below 0. Your balance has a minus sign in front of it. You overdrew by $4. 4. A coffee, a toll, a thing you forgot was scheduled to come out today, and the fee for that $4 miss is, on average, somewhere around $27 in most years at most big banks. So the math does something almost funny. You were short 4. Now you're short 31. The hole didn't just get deeper. The hole started charging rent. Here's the part that should make you sit up straight. Most accounts still carry this fee, roughly 9 out of 10 of them. And a couple years back, there was a rule written to cut that $27 charge down to about $5, which would have saved the households who actually pay it something like $200 a year. It got overturned before it ever took a breath, so the fee stayed exactly where it always was. Now look at who pays it, because it isn't everyone, evenly. The data on this is clear. A small slice of accounts, somewhere near 9%, generates the large majority of all these fees, because those are the accounts that live closest to 0. 23 million households pay one of them in a given year. 23 million. The fee doesn't get spread across the comfortable and the careful. It lands, over and over, on the people with the least room to take the hit. And that's the first thing the ladder teaches you, the thing nobody says out loud down here. The system isn't cruel to you at this level. It's just indifferent. And at $4, indifference and cruelty are very hard to tell apart. Level 2, a few $100s. 600 in the account. You clawed your way back to positive, the bleeding stopped, and for a few weeks it even feels like room to breathe. Then the statement comes, and there's a line on it you didn't quite expect. A monthly maintenance fee, $5, 10. Sometimes closer to 15 on an account that's supposed to earn you interest. A charge just for the privilege of keeping the thing open. So you read the fine print, the way you almost never do, and you find the escape hatch. The fee gets waived if you keep a minimum balance. You check what that balance is, and here's where it quietly stops being funny. On a lot of interest checking accounts, the average balance you'd need to park, just to dodge that little fee, runs to something like $10,700. $10,000? To avoid a $15 charge. Sit with what that means at 600. The door marked "No fees" has a price on it, and the price is more money than you have. So you pay the 15 every month. The fee comes around so reliably it starts to feel like a subscription you don't remember signing up for. The truth at this level is quiet, but it's heavy. Down here, money costs money. The less you have, the more they charge you to hold it, and the further away the exit drifts. You're not behind because you're careless. You're behind because the floor itself is tilted, just slightly, away from you. Level 3. A few $1,000s. 5,000 now, and this is the rung where you finally feel like a real customer. Arrange things right, and the maintenance fee gets waived. The app stops sending those red little warnings, and for the first time, the bank starts being nice to you. But notice the exact shape of the niceness. You've got 5,000 sitting in savings, doing the responsible thing, so you go look at what it's actually earning. The national average savings rate sits somewhere around 0.5%, give or take, depending on the year. 0.5% on 5,000 is about $25 a year. $25 for handing them your money and letting them lend it back out at a multiple of that. Now here's a number that should bother you far more than any fee. At that same moment, accounts that aren't run out of expensive marble lobbies are paying around 4% on the exact same dollars. 4% on 5,000 is 200. So the gap between the familiar bank and the boring online one isn't $25. It's the distance between 25 and 200 every single year on money you already saved. That gap never appears on a statement. There's no line item that reads, interest you didn't earn. And that is exactly why it's the most expensive charge in the whole building. The fees you can see, you can fight. The one you can't see just walks out quietly and leaves the lights on. You won't feel it yet, you will. Level 4, the threshold. Something changes here, and it's worth slowing down for, because this is the line the entire system is built around. You cross a balance, maybe 10,000, maybe 25, depending on the bank, and the tone shifts under your feet. You stop being an account that costs them money to babysit. You start being an account worth keeping. You log in. You see no fee waiting. And you feel for one strange second chosen. Then the first call comes. A pleasant voice, a real name, an offer to review your relationship and make sure you're getting the most out of it. It's tempting to believe you earned this with your character. You didn't. You earned it with your balance. A few weeks ago, that same you called about a $35 charge and got a script and a long hold. A little more in the account now, and that same you gets a name and a callback. Same you. Different number. Here's the reframe most people miss right at this rung. The warmth is real, but it was never about you. The relationship banker is warm because warmth at this balance has finally turned profitable. That's not an insult to them. It's just the math being honest for once. The bank didn't suddenly notice your worth. It quietly updated your price. Level 5, 50,000. Now the relationship runs the other direction. You're not chasing the bank anymore. The bank quietly is chasing you. There's a tier with a name now, something like Preferred or Premier, and it comes with perks that look generous until you read them slowly. Waived fees on things that should never have carried a fee. A slightly better rate they call a relationship rate, which is a polite way of admitting they were underpaying you until you started to matter, and you begin to feel the gravity of the thing. At this level, money makes more money without asking your permission. You go to sleep, and it grows. You forget the account is even there, and it keeps working without you. That's the line everyone quotes, and it's true. But here's the part they leave off. It was always going to do that. It was doing it at 5,000 too. The only thing that changed is that there's finally enough of it for you to notice. Sure, 50,000 isn't rich. It won't buy a house in most cities in most years, but it buys something almost nobody at the bottom ever gets to hold. It buys the word no. No to the overdraft spiral. No to the loan that preys on people who can't wait. No to taking the worst job because the rent is due Friday, and you have no other move. That no is the first real luxury money buys, and it costs a lot less than people think. Level 6, $250,000. A new word enters your vocabulary now, whether you asked for it or not. Insured. The federal insurance on one account at one bank covers you up to $250,000 roughly per depositor. Cross that, and for the first time the bank actually has to help you think, because some of your money is now sitting outside the safety net. Notice the full reversal. At level 1, the bank's job was to extract small fees from you as efficiently as it could. At level 6, the bank's job is to protect you, to advise you, to keep you. Same building, same name over the door. The function flipped completely. And the only thing that moved it was the size of the number it was attached to. At level 1, they knew your overdraft history. At level 6, they know your kids' names. Same database, different welcome. There's a direct line now, no hold music, a person who returns your call the same afternoon. And it's easy, at this level, to read all of that as friendship. It isn't. What it actually is retention. You've become expensive to lose, so they spend a little to keep you close. The truth is, that's not a betrayal of anything. It's just what you finally look like to them, once the number is big enough to bother. Level 7, $1 million. You're at the top of the ladder now, or close enough that the air feels thinner up here. The bank no longer waits for you to call. It comes to you. There's a private banking tier, and at the largest institutions, the real door to it sits even higher, often somewhere around 10 million in investable assets. But $1 million gets you through an entrance most people never know exists. A dedicated banker. A team, really. They'll manage the money, and for that they take a fee, usually around 1% of everything they hold, every year, whether the year was good or terrible. And here's the quiet joke at the summit. At $4, they sent you a letter and a fee. At $1 million, they send a car and a smile. The whole distance between those two welcomes is the point of the ladder, and you've just watched it close, one rung at a time. But look closely at what the $1 million really bought. Not just the better rate. Not just the banker who knows your coffee order. It bought you the benefit of the doubt. At the bottom, every move you made was assumed to be a risk, priced like a risk, charged like a risk. At the top, you're assumed to be safe, courted, trusted before you've said a word. The dollars didn't only earn interest. They earned you a brand new reputation in the very same eyes that once declined your sandwich. The reveal. So here's the reveal. The one line this whole climb was built to earn. The bank never once changed its mind about you. It doesn't have a mind to change. From $4 to $4 million, the building ran the exact same program it always runs. It read the number next to your name, and it priced you accordingly, the way water finds its level, with no malice and no mercy anywhere in it. Your balance was never a verdict on who you are. It was a price tag they read off a screen, the shy version of you and the bold one, the careless year and the disciplined one. Every single one of them got treated identically at the same balance, because the balance was the only thing the system could ever actually see. Same you, different number. And that should land as relief, not as an insult. Because if the number is the only thing that moves you up the ladder, then the work in front of you is clear. You don't have to become a different person. You don't have to be smarter or luckier or born into the right family. You just have to move the number, slowly, in the one direction that changes how every door in that building opens for you. Somewhere right now, someone is standing at a counter, watching a card decline on something small, a sandwich, a tank of gas, a thing that costs less than the fee they're about to pay for not having it. In that second, they feel like the number is a sentence already handed down. It isn't. It's a starting line wearing a disguise. The same ladder that humiliates a person at the bottom is the exact one that courts them at the top, and the rungs sit closer together than the view from the floor ever lets you believe. That person might be you tonight, or it's you a year ago, and you've already started to climb without giving yourself any credit for it. Either way, the bank is never going to hand you the next level. It doesn't work like that. So you take it the slow, boring way, the one that actually moves the number. You move it a little this week. The next step is dull on purpose. Open the account that pays 4% instead of almost nothing, and set the small automatic transfer that nobody will ever clap for. None of that is financial advice exactly. It's just the staircase, described plainly by someone who spent a long time watching people climb it. You're one of two people watching this. Not the rich one and the broke one. The one who closes the tab tonight and the one who moves the number tomorrow. The bank doesn't get to decide which one you are. You do, and it starts smaller than you'd ever guess. If you want the rest of this climb mapped out, rung by rung, stay close. There's a lot of building left to see from here.